why are you on the market? Is there something mentally wrong with you?
Every day, just go along dawn till sundown.
I love your store.
Ah, there's a lot of history here.
Pops, I'm Angelo Zeffirelli. Call me Zephyr. You're the one ruining the neighborhood.
I'm so tired of all this gentrify vacation crap.
You have to date the fourth guy that enters the office for 1 month.
Never mind her. Here's my number. Please. Oh.
Once in a lifetime, think of now.
So to what do I owe the pleasure? You here to steal my girlfriend again?
I didn't know you were gonna mention us to him.
I think tonight is perfect. He was thoughtful and funny.
There's a bit of an age difference.
Who cares? Yo, get some moisturizer.
Something tells me he's going to be a really great kisser.
Why do you think?
Because I'm going to teach him.
I hear dating past your prime can be harrowing.
This is personal. I'm gonna take that store from you.
I think this is about revenge. How can you work for that guy?
Don't judge me.
What do you think?
They're fruits.
Is it just a coincidence that your last names are Bucci, Tucci, and Cucci?
Oh, what are you, a wise guy?
So live today.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for A Brooklyn Love Story, streaming right now on all things. Head over to Prime Video. Digital On Demand, just do a little quick search on A Brooklyn Love Story and delight and enjoy a classic romantic comedy from writer, director, producer. You see him on the screen, the amazing Stephen Federer. Thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. That was a good promo. I think we should record you, put you on Amazon. That's good.
I appreciate that. Hey, you're like the third person in recent interviews, like, be my promo, my hype man.
Yeah.
I'll sign up. Let's go. Thank you again, sir. As I told you before I got rolling, and a lot of my viewers know, as a filmmaker, and also one that isn't working for big budget studios, and in between projects, we need to support independent film. A lot of what the people that have those big budgets come from independent film, and this romantic comedy in A Broken Love Story is just when I started watching it today, it's a classic throwback, and we need just feel good movies like this. So I just want to commend you, sir, and applaud that it's out there and we're getting it out there, and I'm excited to talk to you about this. But let's start off with when the apple hit you in the head, like they say with Einstein, when the thought came to write this film, and you started either doing an old school, like I still do, of pen to keypad or fingers to keyboard, whatever it is, how you write now.
I got scratch pads everywhere. I'm like, yeah, I got scratch pads everywhere. Well, this was kind of a unique situation because so I had done 2 other films with one of the producers, Jeff Mazzola, over the years, and he called me one day and he said, "Listen, we've got this project, and we've been trying. The guy's been trying to make it for a couple of years, and he says, I'd love you to take a look at it. Just take a look at the script, and he says, but I warn you, it needs work, And I said, okay, well, if you've been trying to make it for a couple of years, obviously you need something. Well, let's figure it out. So he sent it to me, and I got the gist of what they were trying to do, because one of the tricky things is that normally when I do a lot of rewrite work, a lot of script doctor work, but you never really deal with the other writer. For the most part, 90% of the time, I don't talk to the other writer. And really for the better, because it's hard to know that someone else is going to touch your work.
Yeah.
And I've had it both ways, right? So so I read it and I said, listen, I think it's based on a true story. It's based on the gentleman's father's store that was in Brooklyn for years, decades, and so it's a sensitive situation, right? So I said, but I got to get in there, and so I came up with this whole thing, which it was much more of a kind of a regular kind of rom-com, and I felt like, and one of the notes that I got from Jeff was, we need more Brooklyn. We need to feel like it's Brooklyn. We need to, we need that Brooklyn feel, right? So I just came up with this idea of, there were no mobsters in the script. There were none of that existed, So okay. I thought, all right, what if the not the bad mobsters, but the B team mobsters, we sent in the B team, So I started coming up with this take, and basically rewrote it. And And so when I sent it to John Cortese, who's the other writer and the executive producer, he was like, "Wait a second, wait a second. My dad didn't have any mobsters, you know." And I said, "Listen, it's not. First of all, it's not a documentary, okay? But but the thing is, if your father and grandfather had a store in Brooklyn since 1939, I can tell you some mobsters walked in there, you know." So over the period of of time, he warmed up to the idea. I just went ahead and did it, and then afterwards they said, well, we'd love you to come in and direct it, and so that's kind of the gestation of how it all happened. And it was a fantastic experience, being able to work with everybody. So yeah, it was just a ball.
I dig it. I dig it. It again, like I said, had like a classic feel, and I like that. Like you said, you alluded to, like there's mobsters, but they're not really mobsters. It gave it a charm because we all know the quote unquote wise guys, right?
Yeah, the
but
stereotype. Yeah,
the stereotypes. It played around it, but it didn't. You didn't need to see that because this isn't that kind of a story.
Yeah, as long as they think that it's real, as long as the mobsters think that what they're doing, like they think they're tough.
And that's what also made that half the fun, the joke. Like you need us to go there. I got the bat in the car, but we didn't need to do that. I thought it just made it very sweet. And I love that rewrite that you did, because it's to me felt like a story of family, which will connect with the audience and made it so beautiful. Community, and also the very plus and minus side of gentrification. There really wasn't one stance on either end, but it all coalesced at the end, and it worked out. But I thought it just spoke to those different areas.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's funny because I write on a lot of dark drama stuff, all the time. And I have a couple of projects that are pretty dark and crime ridden and everything else. But for some reason, I keep circling back to these. And when I do these movies, I feel like you have to make a commitment and say, okay, is it going to be one of those movies where anyone can watch it? Can I watch this with my family? Is there no cursing in it? Is that, you know what I mean? So I felt like that was a decision I had to make early on, and I wanted it to be exactly what you're saying. I really appreciate it because I wanted it to be kind of a throwback, old school classic, that you can just kind of watch with anybody, Yeah.
Well,
so
I will tell you from my vantage point, that you succeeded, sir, and I'm sure you're going to get the feedback now that it's available on Prime Video, y'all, everywhere. Go check it out. Brooklyn Love Story. You assembled an amazing cast and some actors that I've seen in other things, but might not have gotten, a little bit more of a push in different respects. And I thought just an outstanding job. We'll start with your main cast, our two lovebirds here, and stay tuned, y'all. I'm going to have a interview with them both as well, thanks to the amazing Steve Fetter. Talk about casting Michael Morano and Katie McCarty.
Yeah, first of all, our casting director Adrian Stern out of New York did such a great job. I basically, when it came to all the actors were cast basically out of New York, except for Michael and except for Ephraim Lopez, who plays Stacy. And so I met Michael right before I was leaving for New York. I said, why don't we grab, some coffee and a muffin, before I head out. And so we did. And, he was slightly older than, I originally thought about it on the character, but he was so charming. And I liked the idea that I can actually play into that. I was like, that could actually be kind of funny that, he knows he's a little older than this lead. And, and so we met, and I just found like the very charismatic guy and a very, endearing kind of person. And I thought that's what's going to resonate on screen. And that's what I needed. So, yeah. And casting guys are unique. You could get a guy who's a great actor, but sometimes you meet with them in person in casting, you go, this guy's actually a devil underneath, and I'm wondering if that's going to show on screen. So, and Michael's great. And then, excuse me, then Katie, we did a Zoom, and then I went and met her in person, and also had a muffin and coffee. I feel the muffin and coffee is over the top. Yeah, it's that's my inside thing. And then the minute I met her, I said, that's it. She's the girl. And Adrian Stern, the casting director, said she's a movie away from really being like a star. She's a girl who, is so kind, by the way, in general, but so giving, and she's so great to work with. But I was always like, well, yeah, why isn't she like really out there, and why isn't she really a big star? Because she's got everything, you know. And I
Yeah.
think I'm hoping this movie really helps more people see her because I think she's terrific, you know. So yeah, so I locked her down, and that gave me the first two, and and then Adrian sent me. We had so many. I was so surprised because we had so many people responding that we had a lot of choices, and then Michael Rispoli is a a dear friend of mine for years. I did a movie with him, over 20 years ago. And so I cornered him. And he was doing another movie, and his schedule did not allow. And so I called him up basically the weekend before we started shooting. And I was relentless. I said, listen, I know you can't do it, but you can do it. So we decided we're going to do it so we could do it in one day. And I needed to come up with a character that was going to trigger all the mobster stuff, you know? And so I thought, wait a minute, this guy was Jackie on The Sopranos, right? So we got to put him in jail, okay? So that gives him one scene. And so over a weekend, Michael and I crafted it, and I wouldn't let him go. And so, in fact, he just called me. We were laughing about that exact thing. He said, "Man, yeah, you wouldn't take no for an answer." So, yeah, so that's how we got Mike Rispoli. I had worked with him before, and then the rest of it, like, you know, everybody in New York, it's kind of weird because, see, we're theater people in New York, you know, and we all know each other. And there's a community there. It's very different than in Los Angeles, which is very TV and film generated. Like if you get Vinny Pastore, you're going to get Joseph D'Onofrio. And if you get Joseph D'Onofrio, you'll probably get Dan Grimaldi, and and so on and so on. So all those Soprano guys, we all know each other, and so that's great. And Anthony Magano, who plays little Tony. Originally, I was going to have Michael Rispoli play that role, and when Michael couldn't do it because of the schedule conflict, we made a last minute call out to Anthony. Anthony met me the Saturday before we started shooting, and literally got ready for that role. And he did a fantastic job. I love Anthony, a very talented guy. So the casting kind of started to mesh together from people knowing each other and me knowing them. And then you get the rare finds, like, Chris Ryan, who plays Greg in it, is a great theater actor and has done movies, but he's a talent, like he's one of those guys who shows up and you just go to work and you start creating stuff, and you can do improv with him. And the same thing with Wass Stevens, these guys were so like a family with us, and when you have that kind of freedom with actors that will trust you and you trust them, it's the stuff that's on the page is like it's a blueprint, but you don't gravitate to hold on to that. You just say, let's make it even better. I was incredibly fortunate with everybody, so yeah, it was great.
I love that. Man, you get that by watching it in different ways as fans, as viewers sometimes, especially those that are somewhat familiar with these actors. I'm very familiar as a longtime fan of Sopranos, all that. But just even by hearing what you're saying, that as a creative community, how we go in to support each other, and you're from New York, so like it all comes together through community and family in different ways, and it's a reunion in a lot of ways. So that's just beautiful to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah,
and you look forward to that. It just makes it not work in a lot of ways, although this is work.
Yeah, no, I couldn't wait. Every day, I could not wait to get the set to work with them. It was in fact, just the other day we were looking at some behind the scenes video that we had taken, and you could see the family that was there. And the other thing is, a lot of these actors that didn't know each other now, like, they're friends, they're hanging out, they're going to each other's theaters, they're going to each other's shows, so I love that kind of created a whole second set of friendships. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And I come from an acting background, originally, even though I didn't want to continue to destroy the business. I got out of it before any of my performances would hurt the game, but no, but so I appreciate actors, and I know how hard it is to do what they do. And so I think I came from that place too all the time when I work with them. But as a writer director, it's one of those things you have to. A lot of people think, oh, you work with a writer director, they're going to be really hold on to that script, right? They're going to like their word, right? But the key is really not to do that. The key is to say, okay, guys, this is this is kind of what I want to try to, project. This is what I want to get accomplished. But now we got to do the rest of it together. This is a guideline. And so if you have competent actors, you can do that. You can trust them and they trust you, and you can really get it going. You can bring it off the page. And I always tell first-time filmmakers, especially, is like, cast pros, cast the pros. Don't cast the neighbor's daughter. Don't cast the cousin's best friend. Don't cast the key investor's son. Cast the pros. Because there's always little roles you can put people in, and there's a lot of natural people that can really act. But if you're resting your film on someone on a daily basis, man, go with people that are legit. Because they're going to make your day go. I never went over. We shot this in 16 days. We never went over. I was under 11 hours every single day, because I never like to drive a crew down. You want fresh people coming in every day. And the reason why I was able to pull that off was because I had a great crew and I had an amazing cast, and they were prepared every day, And so, a lot of times you get excited about making a movie. You're willing to do it under any circumstance, but you will pay a price if you don't do it right, and the key is the cast. The cast is it's king, So I was grateful. I was lucky.
Wonderful. Again, shout out to your entire team. Whenever I do interviews, especially a little bit more longer format stuff, as filmmakers, and as you just said, you have years of experience. The key to all of that is building community, building the proper team, and I love it. So thank you. I always like to give pro tips, and you just gave a definite pro tip. This film is called A Brooklyn Love Story, as you entitled it. Brooklyn. We gotta rep Brooklyn, and going back to the city, representing New York, all the amazing cast and crew that you assembled. Were there any like bucket list items, or on the shot list? We have to at least have a shot of this, have a shot of that, to just show that love for the city itself that also is the secondary character.
Yeah, I think I made a list of things that I thought were a representation of first of all, the pier in Bay Ridge. That's people who live over there in the Narrows. They know that area over there. They know it. The original title of the movie was going to be The Narrows. And that was the original title. And then, the distributor came in and said, listen, there's over 30 million people who live outside of Brooklyn and other states. And when they see the word Brooklyn, they'll watch the movie just because of that. So, marketing was, and they got a point, that's fine. So Coney Island was another one. Coney Island was one of those things where you know what, that's where I grew up in that area. So having Coney in there was key. And then I wanted to see the streets, because, and then you see the bridge, the Narrows Bridge, you see those shots. And because it's to me, when you shoot in New York, this is the third film that I've directed in New York. New York's a character, that's the other character in the movie. So the more of those, that's why I love shooting on location. I love shooting on the street. The sirens and the helicopters are coming, but that's another character in the movie. So that vibe, that getting that feeling, and little things like I grew up, the rainbow cookies, the marzipan cookies, just having little lines in there, because people from Brooklyn know that, if they go into a bakery and they see those rainbow cookies, those are marzipan, that's home, right? That's home for me. So little things like that. But visually, it was about trying to get as much of the street in, the neighborhood feel to it. So, and hopefully, we accomplished that. I put a couple of drone shots in there too to show neighborhoods and, row houses, because the row houses are very, they're New York. New York and Philly have that feel, but wanted to see those row houses as well. So yeah.
Well done, sir. Just again, I can't say it enough that it's a feel good and community based film that talks about community and family and just so many layers to it, and just such a great cast and crew that you assembled. I'm looking forward to just seeing more of your work, Stephen, and also, with other projects you may have down the line. But I like you were saying, you do a lot of drama, but then sometimes it's cool when you can kind of cleanse the palate a little bit and just do something for everybody, and this is a beautiful one.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like it's funny. The cinematographer, I want to also say, Jose Martinez, that shot this with me. It's also key that you get somebody that like is making your movie, that's with you and understands. And that's the other thing. He brought a great group of people, And then John Scassia, the producer, with Jeff Mazzola, the other producer, fantastic job, fantastic job. And yeah, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I think the indie world, honestly, is where I love it. I just love it. I don't have. It's not like I'm thinking, oh man, I'd love to do one big studio movie and think, forget this indie stuff. Honestly, the creative freedom you get doing independent films is so worth it. It's so worth it. It may be tougher. It may be harder to get the distribution. Maybe harder to put the money together. But if I have my druthers, I love being here. I just love it, and I'm grateful for the support that people like you are giving us. So I really appreciate it.
Definitely. I think you had me thinking as you were saying that with independence and then the major productions, kind of like the themes in this film in regards to, old school traditions and new school ways, gentrification, things kind of changing and shifting. And again, like I told you earlier, I love how it didn't sit on either way of the fence. Obviously, we love our old mom and pop, and he was fighting, for this mom and pop, but there came to be an understanding with the lawyer and all that, but I don't want to spoil for the people. Go see A Brooklyn Love Story, y'all. Just how, through it all, if we just have conversations in community, that we can all learn, and we've learned more about ourselves, like the lawyer did, and just everything. Just really well done, sir. And again, can't wait to see what you're going to do next. I hope you can come back so I can give you more of your flowers as you continue to that next project.
Got some fun stuff coming. And I promise you, I will absolutely update you on that. I'm working on something right now called Sing to Me, which ironically will be another sweet story. And
I love it.
Shot in Brooklyn. So yeah, and I'll give you some more updates on that on another time. That'd be great. Yeah.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. And you know about family, because being Filipino, that's it. Loyalty and family, I mean, when 150 people show up for Thanksgiving dinner.
I have 40. I'm the house that houses Thanksgiving every year in my family. About 45 to 50 people.
Yeah, of course.
In my house.
Yeah, that's just the immediate family. I know, right? Yeah.
You are right. You're not too far off. That's about 35 that are the immediate. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for your time. It is an honor and a pleasure to speak with you. Congratulations on this wonderful film. I hope everybody puts eyes on it. I will be letting the world know about it. And as those other projects come, would love to have you back so I can continue to show you love and light and promote those projects.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I really appreciate it, man. So much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Everybody, the amazing Stephen Federer, writer, director, producer on A Brooklyn Love Story, streaming right now on Prime Video. All the things, go check it out. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World.
Peace.
There you go. There's a cut. I am recording, and let's have some fun. Again, thank you so much. All right, here we go. In a 1, 2, 3.